Hello, I'm Vern Capel, Superintendent of Upsala Area Schools. I'm speaking to you today about a critical decision facing our community, the proposed Capital Projects Levy and the upcoming special election on Tuesday, November 4th. In this presentation, we will discuss the urgent financial reason behind the vote, detail the 4 critical needs the funds will address, and review the financial impacts on property owners. The Upsala Area School Board has unanimously approved placing this measure on the ballot, recognizing the essential need for a dedicated long-term funding source to maintain and improve our students' learning environment. A capital project levy referendum is an election ballot question that states a tax rate. It allows districts to generate additional revenue for technology and capital projects. The revenue provided, it comes from local property tax levies. It's an annual levy with a maximum length of 10 years. The taxes are spread out on the net tax capacity of the district, which means that all property valuations are included. Revenue may be used for items consistent with the ballot language. Since the 2002-2003 school year, state general education revenues have not kept pace with inflation. If the state allowance had increased with inflation each year, it would be approximately $1,470 higher for the upcoming fiscal year. This persistent gap means the real buying power of our state funding has been significantly reduced, forcing the district to absorb increasing costs for basic operations. Coinciding with the state aid funding gap, local property valuations have shifted the equalized funding streams to a greater percentage of local revenue compared to the state aid. Additionally, other dedicated funding streams, special education, compensatory funding, etc., have not kept pace with inflation. This has resulted in more reliance on local revenue sources from operating referendum and capital project levies. On this graph, you can see the dashed orange line, which shows the current state aid increases going back to 2002-2003. The solid blue line that you see would be the estimated aid values had the state aid increases kept pace with inflation. The other funding sources, as I mentioned, special education, compensatory funding, and so forth, are also figured out based on that state aid formula, and they have not kept pace with inflation. So districts, to bridge this funding gap, are faced with asking voters for operating referendum approvals or authorities, and then capital project levy authorities. Most districts have either done both or are pursuing those things. We mentioned that the property valuations, all property tax valuations or classifications would be part of this. You can see the 6 main categories of property classifications in our area and their market breakdown: residential homestead, other residential, commercial, non-qualifying agriculture. The non-qualifying agriculture would be that agricultural land that does not qualify for the ag to school credit, which essentially is the house, a garage, and 1 acre of land. Qualifying agriculture and seasonal rec land are the ones that are brought into this levy compared to an operating referendum, which would only be the properties in the referendum market value. So that center column on the graph that you're looking at would be the properties that are taxed in our operating referendum. Net tax capacity, the third column, shows that all 6 classifications are part of the capital project levy, and you can see that significantly reduces the impact on residential homestead and non-qualifying agriculture properties. This slide is just showing a comparison of some of our local school districts. You can see that we've gathered some of the area districts in Morrison County and close by. Piers, Royalton, and Albany do not have any operating referendum or capital project levy at this time. Melrose and Holdingford have $200 operating referendums. Our current operating referendum is at $207. Little Falls is at $224. Long Prairie Gray Eagle has an operating referendum of $458, and those are all per pupil unit. It's based on enrollment. Swanville has a $460 per pupil unit operating referendum, and then on top of that has the orange bar there, which is a capital project levy, which, if equated to per pupil rates, would raise the dollar amount to $759 per pupil. So the funding gaps that we've talked about, plus the inflationary pressures that are increasingly impacting our expenditures, our district is currently in statutory operating debt. We have been very proactive with budget reductions, but we need a dedicated funding source to stabilize our finances and maintain the quality of education. The Capital Projects Levy is designed to be that solution. It is a local property tax specifically authorized by voters for a set term, and the funds can only be used for major capital expenses. This is strictly separate from the district's general operating budget, which pays for salaries, supplies, and utilities. By having this dedicated levy, we can address our aging transportation fleet and the long-term technology and curriculum needs without redirecting funds away from core classroom instruction. If the levy does not pass, the school board will be required to make difficult decisions to address the district's statutory operating debt status. This would necessitate deeper budget cuts, which could lead to a loss of programming and an inability to adequately maintain our transportation fleet. That would directly impact our student safety and their educational opportunities. You can see on this slide that, again, the election day is November 4th. We are proposing a capital project levy authorization of 4.146% times the net tax capacity of the school district. Again, that includes all property values or property classifications. This will raise approximately $125,000 annually, beginning with taxes payable in 2026. So that's fiscal year 26-27, or next fiscal year for the school district. School district fiscal years run from July 1 to June 30th. The levy would be applicable for 10 years, beginning with taxes payable in 2026. Currently, 62 school districts have capital project levy authority this fiscal year. However, there are a number of them that are on the ballot this year. Revenue from those 62 districts ranges from a low end of about $81,000 a year. And again, this is based on a tax rate, so it's an annual dollar amount based on that rate and based on the net tax capacity of the district. And the revenues would top out in the state right now at $38,142,000. The estimated tax impacts, you can look at this graphic, and it just shows on the estimated market value of each of those property tax areas. If we look at residential homestead, the average value of a home in our district is $275,000. So the annual impact there would be $103 or $9 monthly. You can also go to our website, and I'll show you that here shortly, where you can put in your specific market values and get a much more accurate estimate of what the tax impact will be on you personally. So when is the revenue available if the vote passes? The capital project levy vote again is on November 4th. This December, our school board will certify the annual levy. That levy is certified regardless of the results of the election, but we would certify any increase based on the results of the election if the vote passes. Taxes are payable in 2026. That would be the first year of the increase. And then we would see additional revenue then from this capital project levy in fiscal year 27, which would begin next July 1. Okay, I'd like to take you to our webpage now and just show you how you can get to our capital project levy information. So if you go to our main website, upsala.k12.mn.us, under district, the first option you have is a page called Capital Projects Levy. If you click on that, it will bring you to an informational page that has the basic information that we've talked about. Now, we really didn't talk much about what the funding would be used for. And what we've done here is outline the four major areas that we would see that we would be able to use these funds in, or that we would be dedicating these funds for. Funds generated by the levy would be primarily used for transportation and technology. That's our current high priority need areas. We would replace the aging school buses and vans that we have to maintain a safe and efficient fleet. This ensures that we're able to transport students to and from school safely every day. Currently, our school bus fleet is our highest priority of need. Our newest bus right now is a 2018 with well over 200,000 miles on it. The other buses we have are all 2008, 2009, 2010 years and all have high mileage. We are at a very critical need point with our school buses, as we are still passing inspections, but we are extremely fearful that we will have some buses that we'll have to take out of commission and won't be able to transport kids with them in the future. Technology, as I'm sure are aware, our world is based on technology now, and we have been a one-to-one school now for the last few years since the pandemic. We have modified that and adapted our technology use to make sure that it's beneficial to learning and the academic needs that we have. However, with management of devices, our network, the infrastructure that we have to make sure we can maintain our Wi-Fi systems and have these operational devices, it's ever changing, and there's an ever increasing need for expenditures there to maintain it, replace, repair, and so forth. So this would be an area where we could use some of the funding to update those staff and student devices. We could upgrade the network infrastructure as needed to support modern learning. And then instructional software. A lot of our software and curriculum now is digital based, so we'd be able to purchase those subscriptions. Curriculum areas, textbooks are still part of what we do. Educational materials in the classroom. We would fund the regular purchase of textbooks and current materials and ensure that the teachers have the resources they need to be effective in the classroom and provide a quality academic experience for our students. And then any deferred maintenance, which we don't have a lot now since our most recent bond project. We replaced all of our mechanical systems and updated them, so we don't anticipate having a lot of high need there. However, we have a functioning building that needs to be maintained and taken care of, and there are updates that are required for us to budget for every year. We do have long-term facilities maintenance funding that we use, and we have a plan for that. This would just be another area we could use if we had a significant need or a project that we would need to complete. So the Capital Projects Levy, again, is separate from the district's operating budget. The operating budget covers day-to-day costs like salaries, supplies, utilities, but the Capital Projects Levy would be dedicated to those four areas that we have just highlighted here. If you look at the financial impacts, the details here again, the amount of the levy is proposed to be approximately $125,000 annually. The authorization would be for a 10-year period, so over that 10-year term, we are estimating that we would generate approximately $1,250,000 for capital projects. Now again, this would vary based on net tax capacity since the tax impact is a tax rate. Okay, the tax impact on property owners, I mentioned that an average home in the district at $275,000 would see an increase estimated to be $103 or $9 per month. And you can then go to the bottom of our webpage and you can click on this tax calculator link, and it will bring you to a link here that our financial advisors have provided. And if you click on that link, it'll bring you to this page. And on this page is some more information about the referendum. The ballot question is listed here for you, so the specific ballot language is here. As far as the impact, before the calculators, we do have the contact of the auditors from the counties. And then here are the calculators depending upon your property classification. So estimated market value, residential homestead, if we put in the market value, hit calculate, here it will show that estimated tax impact. You can do that for your commercial property or your industrial property, seasonal rec. And then agriculture, a little bit more detailed here with what you can put in parcel IDs and your county and submit that. And you can get, again, a detailed tax impact. The webpage also has some facts here about the levy itself. So again, most of these I've already addressed, but you could read through some of those for that information. It has some frequently asked questions here. So what is the project levy? We've touched on that it's a property tax approved by voters to provide dedicated funding, how it's different from an operating levy, how it impacts taxes. Okay, so again, more information. My contact information is here. If you'd like to get a hold of me with more specific questions, please feel free to contact me. Give me a call, send me an email. I am always willing to sit down and explain this in more detail if you would like. And then we have some voter information here as well. So we are currently in the absentee period yet. Election day is November 4th, so that's coming up very quickly on Tuesday. The polling place is City Hall or the Rec Building. We have a combined polling place, so that is the only place to vote within the district. Again, there are some links to the state, so you can check registration status, things like that. My contact information. Here is the ballot question again. The School Board of Independent School District number 487, Upsala Area Schools, has proposed a capital project levy authorization of 4.146% times the net tax capacity of the school district. The money raised by the capital project levy authorization will provide funds for the replacement of school-related transportation vehicles, the acquisition, installation, replacement, support, and maintenance of software and devices, improved technology systems, networks, infrastructure, office and instructional technology, technology-related personnel and training, the purchase of and replacement of curriculum materials, and deferred maintenance. The proposed capital project levy authorization will raise approximately $125,000 for taxes payable in 2026. The first year it is to be levied and would be authorized for 10 years. The estimated total cost of the projects to be funded over the time period is approximately $1,250,000. We encourage every registered voter to participate in this important decision. The special election again is held on Tuesday, November 4th. On behalf of the school board and the entire district, I thank you for your time, your careful consideration of this vital levy, and for your continued support of Upsala Area Schools. Please make your voice heard and vote on November 4th. Thank you.